to the Crossroads Podcast.
What's going on, everybody? It's your man, Hunter Grand, your personal agent for change, making life easy, Barzini.
And I'm Fempreneur Extraordinaire, Tech Diva all day, Dre Renee.
And this is the Crossroads, where there's only one rule.
Be free to be you. That's good. That's good. Well, I have a question. Does imposter syndrome show up in relationships?
Yes, it can. I think that people often think it's, based on individuals. And I will say that it is an individual experience. And some of that could be, relationship related. So how you feel you need to show up in a relationship, the narrative you've created about your partner and the expectations you have for them and how you're supposed to be, that can impact how you feel about your success. And so if you have a partner that, you need a lot of reassurance from, and they don't do that, then you may start to feel like, hey, I don't really know where I stand with that person. Or if you get more critiques in a relationship than you do get praise, that could, set you up to start to feel like, it sounds like I just, kind of do all the things wrong in this relationship. And that's why I'm not really a huge fan of kind of basing all of our assessment on ourselves, like in the hands of other people, that could be a true experience for your partner. Also, is your partner a person that normally sees things objectively, that normally recognizes good and speaks on it? Or are they someone that recognizes when things aren't right and speak up most? Because I say most human beings will, speak up when it's something they don't like, and not all the time when it's something that they do love. And so, don't think because more of what you get is actually reality of what's happening in the relationship.
I love it.
I feel like it also shows up preventing relationships, like I won't shoot my shot, or, I feel like this person is on a different level than me, or they make this amount of money. They're not looking at me, or they live this lifestyle, or, they get this amount of attention, or this is what their ex looks like, and I don't look like that person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've seen it a lot in that area. I mean, I've had somebody tell me they didn't think that they lived up to what I would expect in a relationship. You know what I mean?
Did they have a conversation with you ahead of time about what you're like you just making stuff up now? Like, where did you get that from? You never even consulted me on what I liked for myself.
Right. I mean, but we've kicked it before. Like you know what I'm saying? But in her head, she just felt she wasn't good enough. And I was like, I mean,
two things, right? Like it's one, the first part of that is, that suggests then like some kind of grandiosity in people's like vision of themselves, in the sense of you have some psychic ability where you can tell what other people think about a thing without having talked to them or spoken to them about it, which is bananas to me, because it's like, if you that good, give me the lottery numbers then, because we could all be paid out here and happy. But if you don't have that ability and then stop pretending like you do, then the second part is like not including you in the conversation, or like, I think talking about it in a way of, well, here's what I would expect for you, or creating a narrative about you that, again, if it doesn't have you providing some input into that, then you're just making stuff up about a person, and maybe you should consult with that person or have a conversation. Like that would be the better thing to do.
And I'm like, I've known you for years. We've kicked it. Like, I would, you know what I'm saying? If I did, but also I think in that regard, I was also a victim of my popularity back then. Right. So the whole, Barzini and folks know me, whatever.
Oh, you know, Good Morning America, right? Wasn't that it was Good Morning America? It was
Today
Show. Yeah, it was out there. It was out there.
I mean, we did all that stuff, but I think it was a perception, because I was always around people, I got attention, but that was a character. You know what I mean? Very few people knew the real me. And my real life was much different than the perception people created when I was out in public, So it was kind of like, you get older later, and then people kind of get to know you better. Like, oh, I used to like you, but I wasn't trying to be one of your fans, and that. But no, I'm not even. You see, look at her face, because she's like, You're like, oh God, here it is.
Oh,
And she'd be sitting right there. No, listen, we would be kicking, and I'm like, look at this. Like, so she knows, she's seen the receipts.
Mhm.
But also it's like, I wonder how much I missed out on because of a perception someone else created of me that wasn't real. Like, I'm going through the same struggles as everyone, if not more,
Right,
than other
right.
folks.
Mhm.
But you've built this up in your head, and you created this perception, and it could have been us.
Yeah, 100%. And I say leave that with them. Like, you didn't miss out on. I mean, that's them preventing something that could have been from happening because whatever narrative they created about you, that they didn't include you in the creation of it. And they had access to you to be able to do that. But
Right.
yeah, that's like super. Yeah, for sure. That's imposter syndrome in a way of where people are feeling like they won't live up to, and they're going to be found out to not be good enough. So even if you are like, nah, I rock with you, you good as you are, they won't believe it.
Mhm.
And so like it becomes a thing of like, well, if that's the case, then it's not really on me. That's on the other person. And like they got to do some work up with themselves to say like, well, why is it that you would think this other person wouldn't like you? Like, what story are you telling yourself that suggests you don't have something that they would like, or you're not that? And people are creative at making up all sorts of stuff. Oh, well, I don't look like any of the last people he dated. Maybe that's what he's looking for. Maybe that's exactly it. He's had that and does not want that anymore. That could be it. Or maybe it's something about you that shows up different that none of them had, regardless of the look. Right? Like, you're putting emphasis on something. And I think, people are so talented at creating a story without evidence to support it.
Yeah. I think that's a difficult relationship too, because it's one thing for someone to think something about you, and it's another thing for them to think something about themselves. I think it's harder to deal with someone who doesn't think enough of themselves than someone who thinks too much of themselves.
Preach.
Yeah.
Because it's constantly this pleaser role, or, well, did you like that? Or are you mad at me? Or
the insecurity, the reassurance.
Well, who's that? And
Yo, man, that's like man, I need you to know who you are. You with you most of the time more than I am. I need you to love on you in all your greatness and all your glory and in all your flaws. Hey, it's going to be all good. As long as you love it, other people will have to adjust. And if they don't, that's cool. That's just not their people. But yeah, like I couldn't function in a relationship like that. Like, that wouldn't work for me because I don't present in a way of where I'm going to tell you every day, oh yeah, you're the best. Like, don't think like that. I'm gonna be like, well, if you don't see it for yourself, I don't know what to tell you.
Because nothing I tell you is going to
At all.
convince you.
Yep.
I don't know. I've always said, like, anyone that's with me, you have to be confident and secure in yourself. Like, I'm not the person for someone who's not assured of who they are, and also like and self-aware.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's just because I present and I speak in a certain way that someone that doesn't think highly of themselves, and if you offend easy, and if you're thin-skinned, we're gonna have conflict. Not that I'm purposely trying to hurt you, but you may be hurt by things that I'm saying and I'm not meaning to. And I don't want to always have to filter myself either.
And it might not even be that you're saying something negative. It could be the directness with which you say something. It could be the fact that it was, a statement of fact for you. And it wasn't, kind of done in a way that was flowery, and you're a poet. You got lots of words. You could make it that. But in your personal life, maybe that's not how you operate. And you're like, hey, I don't like this. Don't do that anymore. Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't like me. Well, okay. That was that's how we said. I said, I don't like.
So what you're saying is, every time you hear what you're saying is, it's never what you're saying.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I just had that situation the other day. I won't get into the details. That's some BTS stuff.
Yeah.
But her response, like, she asked me for something, I declined. I was like, no. And it was like, okay, well, that tells
my
me
brain is gone. Now she asked me for something. Go ahead, keep going.
And the thing is, it's probably exactly what you think, but That's how she goes.
I'm glad you said no. I'm good. Come on, King. Know your worth.
Know your worth.
Oh, yeah. I mean, okay. So, yeah. I was like, nah. Oh, that just tells me all I need to know. And
Is it?
I just said, oh, okay.
all that you ever needed to know was based on that one. I didn't know it was a test of one question. There it is.
Listen.
Do you like soda?
Well, because I probably was supposed to be like, well, what's it telling you? What you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
You got it. Hey. Oh, that's comedy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. It takes time, and I think everybody on some level or in some area of our life, I think either experiences or has experienced imposter syndrome. Like, what do you think?
To a degree, I think that my fascination with it is that at a very young age for me, I was put in a position where I had to make a choice. Little quick backstory. If you're from LA area, you know that they had this thing called the Choices program. You could go to a school that's outside of your district or area. So for a kid like me living in South Central, not South LA, it was South Central at the time.
I don't know.
Bust out to a school.
South LA.
Hey, I don't do that. I don't do that. I was down the street from the Slauson swap meet. Put some respect on my name.
Oh, we grew up like around the corner from each other.
Bud Long in 58th place. Holla at your boy. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. You know, if you lived on a place, you was
right.
Couldn't nobody find your house?
Not never.
It ain't street, it's place.
It's place. It's place. 58th place. Get it in your sister, right?
Yeah.
And like going out to a school out in the Hollywood Hills, I realized the rules were going to be different for me. And in all my youthfulness of 8 years old, third grade, I chose that, well, if I have no desire to try to be what they want me to be. So I'm not going to conform to that. So I'm just going to lean into me. And so the thing that I had was intelligence, right? So I could get good grades and I knew the work. What you was going to deem me on was the fact that I was talking in class or, I was being disruptive, whatever. And I was like, I'll be cool with that. So you could be mad about that, but also did I get that A? And so I just carried that with my whole life, from that point on. And I've just been Team Stevon ever since. And so my report card was always AUU or BUU. It was always going to be UU, but that academic part.
The work habits were used too. Maybe that cooperation part.
Well, they didn't have no more room on cooperation, so they had to take work habits. So how I get an A, but I got bad work habits?
Make that make sense.
That doesn't even
make that make sense. Like you see,
maybe an AEU, but not an AUU.
Right.
Listen, I was student body president, and then I was ineligible for pen and ribbon because I had too many. I had 9 U's.
Make that make sense. Make that make sense.
Hey, 6 classes. There was only 12 possible.
He was like, I was trying to run the gamut on it. I tried to get all
right. 9 U's and 3 S's.
Yeah. But I do think that people struggle with that, struggle with leaning into themselves. And so I was like, if it's gonna be a choice between being for everybody else or being me, I'm gonna choose me. And it always fascinates me when people don't choose themselves. So you were probably a much better choice than trying to pretend to be somebody else to make everyone else comfortable.
Mm-hmm. But so how much influence did you have on who you were supposed to be, or were people trying to make you, or how much autonomy did you have to choose who you wanted to be?
I think I had a good amount of autonomy. I mean, I still got, parents and Black parents, so you can't just be wild out here.
You just can't be yourself.
Time out. Just keep it 100. We not doing that. But also, it was one of those things of where I'm okay being with me, and if being me is going to put me by myself, then that's just what it's going to be. Uh-huh. I'm not looking to try to pretend like I'm not. And I've been the same person I've been since I was a kid. If you know me at 12, then you know Stevon at 45. I'm the same dude. I'm into the same stuff. I rock the same. And that's just kind of always been me. So I never really had this instance of where I was, not doubting myself or like felt like I was a fraud. I guess am pretty securely aligned or attached to what I can do. And I know that, and this is that radical acceptance of self, is that the stuff I can't do or haven't done before, don't know how to do yet, I can learn, that I have the ability to learn. So I tell myself, like, I don't know how to do that, but you know, what I can do are these things. And if these things add up to being that, then I'll be fine. I'll figure it out along the way. And I don't have to be perfect. And it could be a mistake. Like example would be, you know, Dre said we're going to do drops at the end. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what those are, but I do know how to talk. I've done drops before on my other show. So we're going to figure it out, you know, and I'm going to be cool. So I don't need to like panic or be like, oh my God, they didn't give me the head of time and all this stuff. I don't really go there and I'm gonna mess this up and they're going to be mad and be like, this dude ain't professional. I never go there.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's your experience with celebrities? Like having worked in television, having worked with celebrities,
Yeah.
do you see imposter syndrome show up more or less? You know what I'm saying? Because you got folks that are on cameras, you influencers that have millions of followers and they show up every day on camera, you know what I mean, or on social media, but real life is stranger than fiction.
Yeah. True story. True story. I would say anyone that you see as a high achiever, that could be someone in entertainment, that could be a person who has a medical degree, that could be a lawyer. Those people, and especially if they're a person of color, they are kind of primed to struggle with it at times at a very high level. And it's really because they are kind of being trailblazers. They're doing things in a space where not a lot of people look like them, or they're doing something that maybe they didn't go to school for, right? Like maybe I went to school for, you know, psychology, and now I am influencer and I'm doing, you know, digital media and all this stuff. That's not what you went to school for. Also, you're talented at it. So I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I think that they kind of have a struggle with trying to be, and I guess this is the comparison thing, is trying to be what they think everyone else is doing at their level. And so, you know, we live in like a vacuum or like a bubble. And what you don't see is, you know, unlike the Patreon people, if you don't subscribe, you don't see the BTS behind, you know, what happens with XrossroadZ. And so you tell yourself, oh, this is all scripted and all figured out. And you're like, nah, it ain't all that it's supposed to be in that way, but it's going to work out good. And I think that, you know, when we start living in that sort of environment, especially like in the social media digital age, we are kind of comparing our behind the scenes to what people put out in their final product. And that's problematic because everybody has a behind the scenes. And I try to really get people to think about the idea that, you know, the how versus the what, and like, you know, that not being the thing that separates you from accepting the quality or diminishing the quality of what you've accomplished. So in that sense, I mean, like, you know, how something was accomplished shouldn't diminish the quality of what was accomplished. So, you know, if I stumble across and fall and I won first place, I'm going to keep that gold medal. And some people are like, well, I fell and I didn't really, you know, break the tape. Hey, you fell into a gold medal. Take that. You still won. You was up there enough to where when you did fall, it was good.
Yeah.
Own it.
Yeah, I thought it was real interesting. And it was a good look. You know, I want to shout out Kev on stage, who shouted you out and shared the text message between you two.
Yeah.
So one, I thought that was really courageous. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like, you know, him being a comedian, he wasn't sharing a comedic moment. You know what I mean? Like he was having a real moment. Like, I don't feel like I deserve the things that are like these good things that happen. I don't feel like I deserve it. You know what I mean? So how does that show up in your inner self, where you are counseling people that like you influence the influencers?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so and they're sharing that, and he's sharing that publicly, where a lot of influencers, well, like millions of followers, a lot of people wouldn't be that vulnerable. And then knowing that you're one of the driving forces that's helping him, you know, maintain the platform and the blessings that he's receiving.
Yeah. So I think two things happened for me. One, and you know, I'll use it as an analogy, is like if I were working with LeBron James is great on basketball court. Amazing. He got me, you know, hands down. I can't do anything.
I mean, I
And,
might, you know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, I mean, you might
Here
still
you
have
go.
it. Hey, I don't have it. I don't have it.
Right.
I'm gonna keep it 1,000. I have it. I'm not even gonna try. And what I do though, I think I'm, top tier in it.
mhm.
People can debate that, and I'm sure I'm not
No,
going to
they
say I'm
can't.
the best. Well, they can. People can do whatever they so choose. I do think in working with people with imposter syndrome, I'm up here with it.
Yeah.
So I don't really get kind of like the starstruck or kind of, worried about like the accolades that they have, because they still just human beings presenting with an issue. And I have the tools and knowledge and skill base to be able to help them with that. I also think that I'm like I don't want to say like a good cheerleader, but I am really good at like the way I present stuff in terms of like the logic I use with helping people see the absurdity, I guess, of their thinking in a way. And so it's like, you're telling me, and I'm good at keeping receipts, all this stuff you've done.
Yeah,
You're saying that
that's too, he deserved me.
yeah, like come on, bro, like make it make sense. So like when Kev hit me, I'm like, yo, like let's even go to the point. Like, you wanted to do a good job, and you're really good at what you do. Why did you not think that, like, if you're good at what you do, you try to do a good job, the outcome would be lots of good things? Why are we not there? And so, like, that's when he left the conversation, but he never came back to answer. He still has not answered that. It's left on red. But like, that's the thing. Like, I'm really good at getting people who are operating at a high level to take a beat for a second and say, like, hey, let's look at what you've done. I get you striving for more, and I think you get caught up in looking at the next step. And I'm saying, but look at where all the stuff you've done. And I'm not going to let you ignore that. Like, so if you're on the phone with me, or if you're, on a Zoom or whatever, I'm never going to let you ignore all the stuff you've done. Like, you can't just dismiss that past me. I'm going to be on your head about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That can be a struggle. Because we had this mentality, and I know I was, because I always felt that I wasted so much time when I was younger, right? And so now I grind. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to catch me not working on something, right?
That's good insight.
But the problem was, or is still sometimes, like my ex used to always tell me, you got to stop and smell the roses. I'll be like, man, forget them roses. I'll smell the roses when I'm underneath them. You know what I'm saying? I sleep when I'm dead. You know, all that, right? Because you're trying to get to a place where you felt you should be. Yeah. But I think that type of thinking I had to learn is void of gratitude. Right? It's like, looking back doesn't mean you're going backwards. Looking back is an acknowledgement of how far I've come.
Facts.
And being grateful for it. It's like, oh, you know what I mean? And I think an example was, so my older brother taught me how to ride a bike, right? A two-wheeler. I got one for Christmas. No training wheels. It's like, nah, you gonna ride this bike. And I'm like, I don't want my training. He's like, nope. And so I'm riding, I'm falling. So he started holding the seat. And so I'm getting it, whatever, right? And so he's like, okay, you're getting better. So it was in a cul-de-sac. So he was like, all right. And I was the type, my dad and my brother, whatever they say, I listen to. So I've trusted my brother with my life. Anything. If he said it, there it is, right? So he was like, all right, this time I want you to keep pedaling, and whatever you do, don't look back. I bet. So I'm pedaling. He's like, all right, you doing good. Keep pedaling. Don't look back. You doing good. Keep pedaling. Don't look back. You doing good. Keep pedaling. Don't look back. Keep pedaling. You doing good. Don't look back. And I'm like, wait, his voice sound fart. Then I look back and it's like, oh, you know, that's when I go.
Yep.
Right. And I fell. So the thing is, it's like, when I realized my safety net was gone, that's when I fell. But he was like, no, don't. It ain't about that. You did it on your own. Like, you just, you did it. You don't need me.
Right.
Right. And so then I was like, let go of the seat. Like, so now I want to do it again. And I still fail a few times, but I was able to ride further without falling until now. I'm like, let's go. Now I'm trying to jump curves and
Yep. You ain't got no helmet, none of it. Look at doing
right. I eventually ended up getting in a car accident because I was trying to ride his bike and it had the handbrakes, and
and upgraded. Yeah,
I ended up in Killer King Hospital.
Crucial. Oh, don't do that.
Yeah, that was the
Yeah.
one of the 2 times that I died.
Damn. So where's the transition after that? Like,
I know. I'm like,
well,
okay.
no, because one, we had the car. When people thought we were driving back from Arizona, there was a car accident, and everybody thought the noobs died. Like we was all in a car in an SUV, and it careened, and we were all dead, right? But this time I got in a car accident, ran into a car. One, we were supposed to be in school, so we was ditching school. My brother told my dad told my brother told my dad it was a pupil free day, but there was a rule: wherever you go, you got to take your brother with you. So I'm in his mess. So I'm out on the street riding a bike, supposed to be in school. The accident happens. They call the ambulance. Ambulance pulls up. Whatever. School lets out. You're down the street, and I went to Carver.
Yeah.
Right. So. They lay me down in the grass in this yard, and it starts to rain. So to keep the rain off me, they got a blanket and they covered me up.
No way.
And so kids are walking home, right? And they know they're like, "Oh my God, he did!" Because you see a blanket over somebody. And
This is trauma.
This is trauma.
Yeah. So there was oh no, Chetty died.
Yeah.
He did. So, my daddy had to get the call from work that I'm in the hospital and all this other stuff.
He hot.
Everybody got towed up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I can ride a bike now, though.
I bet you can. Yeah. You stop hopping curves, man.
Right.
but like something I do is like kind of get on people about their language. So like even the idea, like I was having a hard time listening to you. It's like, I wasted time. I was like, did you like? That part of me feels like that's coming from a place of, because you have good insight about yourself. That's also coming from a place of like hindsight, right? Like where you are now, you can clearly look back and say like, okay, maybe I would have did this differently. Maybe I wouldn't have, but that's from a privileged position, right? In that moment, you did what you thought was right or what you needed in that moment. And then there's like the part of where, when you say you waste time, it's like, according to whose standard, right? Like,
exactly.
I don't know how much time I got on earth. Maybe you know exactly how much time you do. And how are you defining waste? So like I start to have all these questions because I don't just let people kind of run down the road with thoughts about themselves that are negative without presenting me with a lot of evidence and facts to support it. Like maybe you're right. Maybe you did waste a lot of time and that's true and you messed up and you shouldn't be stopping to smell the roses. I'm not knocking that. Convince me that that's true. Provide evidence to support that. I'm not just going to let you tell me that.
Right. Well, yeah, I worked on that because I link it to certain happenings in my childhood, right? Kind of like my father teaching my brother how to drive, right? When he was 13.
That's young.
Yes. Yeah. So he's teaching my brother how to drive. Like we was just on going home one day. My dad pulls over and tells my brother, get in the driver's seat. And I'm geeked out, right? I'm 10. So he's 3 years older than me. I'm 10. And I'm like, oh my God, he's driving. Like I'm excited for him, right? But then there's also that part where when I get 13, I get to drive. Right. And so I'm patient. I get it. I'm only 10. I can't drive yet.
Yep.
Right. Driving's for 13-year-olds.
Well, not necessarily, but I follow.
Right. No,
not necessarily, but
saying,
okay.
Yeah. This is 10-year-old logic, right? Because so I'm like, okay. So 11 comes up. I'm getting there. 12 comes. One more year. Right. 13 comes.
Where your lessons at, huh?
Yeah. 14 comes.
Oh.
15 comes. I'm like, yo, look, right? So
like I'm almost at the legal age.
Yeah. So Pops, I mean, he gave me he never took me. Like, this is how my dad taught me how to drive a stick. I knew how to drive an automatic by this time. I think I was 17, 18. And I was complaining because he used to let my brother take his car, right? Who didn't have a license. I was licensed. I was like, look, I ain't waiting for you. I did whatever. Wouldn't even let me take the car. So he walks in the room one day, throws the keys and says, here, go learn how to drive and don't tear up my truck. That's how I learned how to drive a stick. But what I learned later, maturing, he was like, I wasn't teaching you how to drive at 13. Like, do you know who you would have stole my car, been some of any.
Know your kids. Your kids.
And so in my head, it's, you know me, equality, equity, like, well, it wasn't equity at the time. For me, at that age, it was equality. My older brother got to do this.
I need to do this.
I get to
Same,
do it.
homie. You know what I'm
Same
saying?
energy.
Same energy. But then I realized, but my father knew like y'all are different. And
Yep.
so certain happenings helped me, like when I think about like my value, right, was I felt less than, because he would call my brother number one son.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't translate to firstborn to me.
Right.
No, it's like number.
It's a competition. I'm losing.
And plus I'm the second son, so everything is competition.
Mm-hmm.
Who's first to the car? Who gets the front seat?
Mm-hmm.
And so like when I remember being 7 years old, and I tell my dad one day, like, Dad, you've been a dad for 17 years. He goes, no, I haven't. I've been a dad for 10 years. I was like, no, because I'm 7 and Sean is 10, and 7 plus 10 is 17.
It is.
Right?
Your math is not wrong.
Yeah, but he was like, it doesn't work like that, son. It goes by the oldest child. Yep. And so in my head, all I can remember thinking is like, so my years don't count. Right.
So what she's saying is
I don't matter. Right. I don't matter. Right. But that 7-year-old logic.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't get like the math was right, but the math wasn't right.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. It wasn't until I got to a level of understanding, like, oh, I'm within those years. I'm parallel to those years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But how do you explain that to a 7-year-old who just doesn't get it?
Get it.
Yeah.
So when you don't realize like you haven't wasted time in your life until you get it. You see what I'm saying? It's like, oh, those years didn't count. I wasted time. It's like, nah, there were some lessons that you were probably learning, or some things that you had to go through, or like 10-year-old me, or even 13-year-old me, you weren't ready to be behind the wheel of a car. You would have wrecked it. I could have taught you, but you would have wrecked it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Your brother was ready. You weren't ready. You move different. You think different. You're too ambitious, right? 5 minutes in, I'd have been like, all right, I got it. I know that about me now, and me and my father are too much alike. We would have been like, my brother would listen. He was more patient with my brother. Mm-hmm. He would have been like, come off the club. Why I gotta do that? What's this do? Boys,
get out my car. Get out my car. Get out my car.
Right?
Lesson over.
Yeah. Yep. So you see how our conversations go. Imagine trying to teach me how to drive.
All over the place. All over the place.
Yeah.
All over the place.
So it's so I felt like I wasted time, but it's now it's like, hey, you may not be ready for what I have for you. So just keep going. I'm holding, like, keep pedaling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Don't look back.
I got you. Yeah. That's what's up.
Okay.
Maybe I should go back and get my MFT.
hey, get in there. We need more. We need more black. Oh, wow. There's that. All right. All righty then. How about them Dodgers?
All right. Hey, they still down. They still down. They're down too.
About them. Well, we have a brand new segment that we like to share with you called Express Yourself. It's a lightning round, so we ask some questions. It's kind of a this or that, and so you just pick one. When you hear your choices, Barzini will hop in, periodically and ask why.
Ask me why. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
We might need some clarification on certain things.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's start. Coffee date or dinner date?
Coffee date.
Oh, he didn't ask. Texting or phone call?
Text.
Confidence or vulnerability?
Confidence.
Why?
If I think about those two, I think that if people are confident, then they would be okay being vulnerable.
Oh, so a twofer.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can share whatever I need to share about myself because I'm okay with me.
Adventure date or cozy night in?
Keep me inside.
Yeah.
Don't ever. I never wanted to be out there.
Okay. Old school courting or modern dating apps?
Oh, this is rough. I'm against all of it.
Before you even answer, why?
Oh man. Well, I got problems with traditional way of how it is or used to be and this new way. So like traditionally, I don't know that holds true anymore. I mean, I know like we could harken back to it. I'm not even sure I was a fan of it because I don't know that I ever fit the mold of that, right? Like planning dates and doing all that stuff. That was never really me. I don't consider myself romantic in that way. I'm the type of person, I'll make sure your car's washed, or you got gas in your car or something like that. But, you want me to flowers and chocolate, and I'm not doing that. Like, we're going to decide to be with each other. I'm not calling you all the time. If you don't call me, then I figure you don't want to talk. So I'm going to keep it pushing. And then now with the dating apps, like, it's, people are, I don't know which way you swipe, but they asking people with very little information. It's limited information. And I'm saying you haven't really given yourself a chance to get to know somebody. And so, what I put out that I think are my star qualities might not be what you would see or would agree to be my star qualities if you got to know me. And I'm saying, I don't know that they really give me an opportunity to do either. So I choose be by myself.
Listen, the way things is going nowadays.
Hey, I'm opting out. Is there an opt-out clause?
Man,
none of the above.
None of the above.
Okay,
Yeah.
which one do you like the most, or like
the
which one is least?
Least hate. I hate the least.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say dating apps then.
Okay.
Because then that's like the least amount of engagement I got to do. I don't want to have to go out, and when we hung out, now I got to learn that I've never liked you. I could look, Rita, you're into the. I don't do those things. Good, we're done. I'm part of the problem now. Look at you guys. I am part of the. I'm the part of the problem. I'm a swiper.
Right.
Yeah, call it as Mick dating.
Yeah.
Mick dating.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay. Vinyl records or digital playlists?
Digital playlists.
Handwritten letters or quick emails?
Email.
Road trip or quick flight?
Road trip.
Classic.
See, I wouldn't have got that one from you.
Yeah,
you go modern. Oh,
crucial. Nah, I like road trips. I think maybe there's fun in that, right? Like you can go, we can hang out. If you're good company, I can spend that time. We can have, a bit of a picture.
There's the caveat right there.
Right. Well, that's the key. I wouldn't fly on a plane with somebody I didn't,
yeah, but like the way your patience is set up.
Yeah, exactly. But road trip, like I'm right to the vacation. Whereas like, I got to go through, customs. I got to go through the airport security, TSA. I got to get on a flight. It's all these people on the flight. They're going to be hacking and coughing. Ooh. Oh, man, it's a whole thing. Then I get there. I got to wait for my luggage. And then we got to get to I don't want to do all that. I don't want to.
Me either now.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's right. Let me get in the car. We drove 2 hours and we started having fun as soon as we got on the road. Yeah.
I like it. Okay. Classic board games or video games?
Ooh. Oh man, that's a hard one. It depends. If depends on the board games. Like if you want to play the game of life, I'm out. I don't want to play Risk or any of that. Monopoly, I could do a hostile takeover. Video games, I'm a first person shooter, so I'm not really doing that with a whole lot of people anyway. So I don't want to play Madden with anybody. So probably board games then. Board games.
Yeah. Board game. Okay.
That was a whole lot going. I think
this is the way my mind works.
Yeah.
Okay. I love it.
I don't want to play Madden. Yeah.
Last one: weekend camping or luxury hotel stay?
Luxury hotel stay.
Yeah, you said stay. Keep me inside. So I
keep me inside. I'm about to give me all the
no wood.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. Give me all the stuff. I want to press a button.
It's gonna take you a while to get there on said road trip.
Well, that's why you choose a partner that gets you out of your comfort zone to a degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we there, and I'm like, room 1911. We need this. Right?
All right.
Room 1911.
Oh boy.
All right.
Yes, sir.
For sure. So, Stevie Lou, you gonna lead us into our final thoughts for our Gen X Xennial population. How these things that we've discussed showed up in your life, imposter syndrome, how our parents and those in our life have contributed to the mindsets that we hold or trying to struggle through? Like, what are your final thoughts on today's conversation? Because we went a lot of places, but what do you want to leave the audience with?
So if after watching this episode, there's like one takeaway, my hope for people would be that they would have, and I think you spoke to it a little bit, is some gratitude for what they've been able to do and have some compassion for themselves. And I, kind of summarize those into that radical self-acceptance or radical acceptance of self. Be okay with the fact that you've done some amazing things and that you are also working to be a better version of yourself. Those two truths can coexist, and allow for that to happen, and not really, judge yourself negatively based on the fact that you're in that process.
Dope. Lady Dre.
Wow. Well, I'm personally happy that you were here with us and helped me to reframe some of the things that I have thought incorrectly. I do have control issues. But
never would have guessed it.
See, shots fired, all the shots. But I mean, even in this conversation, I was thinking, my parents, grandparents set the bar very high. It was like, this is how you show up all the time. This is our expectation of you. This is what we know you're capable of, and we really will not accept anything less than that. And so fast forward 40 some odd years later, and I'm still making sure that I clear the bar, and now that I think about it, it's like, I don't think my grandmother's going to call me and be like, I can't believe you, she doesn't, as far as she knows, I made it, she's like, yay. But I still have that feeling in everything. Like, I can't show up beneath that. And no, I don't have control over the outcome. So I am going to put my foot on the gas on the part that I can control and make sure, that I clear this bar. Like, it's a must do. Ooh. And I think just really recently, and I was talking to Barzini about it, I was like, I'm in the point of my life now where that is still a part of me. I want to do well. I want to achieve. I want to make myself proud. I want to make my family proud. I make my husband proud, all of those things. But I am more so focused on me and just, how does this feel? Because to be a high achiever is hard. That's hard. Yes, I want to do well, but my brain is always going. I'm always thinking of a contingency. What if this doesn't work? I got to be prepared for this. That's a lot. And so I am entering a stage of, how do I balance that with just doing nice things for Andrea, or doing things that Andrea wants to do without the pressure of monetizing or succeeding in a particular way. Let's just do something and kind of see how it goes. It's so frightening to even consider that, but that's the journey, that I'm on. And so I'm sharing that because maybe there's somebody else that, might be in that space as well.
Man,
she's like,
go ahead and respond to it.
Fighting myself. So I would say, okay. We family. I would say this then, like, in your pursuit of being a better version of yourself and, doing things at this bar that you've set, in your definition of success, maybe factor in the idea or concept of imperfection. So that releases you from having to make it look a certain way, because you can control your effort, but also not the outcome. And I think if you allow for some imperfection to be a part of that, then you can now temper your expectations, not get rid of them, but also make them more realistic.
Thank you. So that wasn't bad. That was good. It was like, I held back on you.
I said it in a way that I was like, it's going to feel okay.
Wait till we
behind the scenes.
What I wanted to do, is start asking questions. Well, make this make sense for me. And I didn't do that.
I mean, hey, that's what we're here for.
You choose
But
violence. You choose
right,
violence.
yeah. So my final thoughts. Who said? Who said? I am someone who abhors templates in life. When they say you are supposed to be at a certain place in your life by a certain age, who said? When they said that because you are a man, then you are supposed to do this, who said? When they say you're a woman and you're supposed to think this way or present this way, who said? When you are going on a career path and there's a level of success that you feel that you're supposed to have after a certain time, if you go to school and you get the degrees and you're supposed to be successful automatically because you've done this, who said? And when we set these standards that are unsubstantiated, we put unnecessary pressure on ourselves to meet a particular benchmark that does not exist. We as human beings codify life. I'm reminded from the movie Lucy, for those who've seen it, like her speech at the end when she says 1 + 1 = 2. That's all we know, but 1 + 1 does not equal 2. It's never equal to. There are in fact no numbers or no letters. We have created, we've codified life from its unfathomable scale, right, to make it fathomable, right? We need to be able to digest it and make life palatable, but there are no limits. There are no templates. When we think of how old we are, your age is only based on a metric that we created. We have codified time, but time is an unlimited construct in either way. There is no beginning and there is no end of time. We just exist within time. And the only thing that we know for sure is that our time in this form will expire. And because we don't know when that is, we feel a certain level of pressure to achieve certain things. But when you live outside of time and just do, there's so much more freedom in that. And it's tough to do, right? I understand it consciously, but in practice, I still struggle because the thought is the things that I want in my life, I want them now. Based on the work that I've already done. Right? It's like, hey, I've been grinding. I've been this. I went to school. I have 3 degrees. I'm good to people. I'm creative. I created this. I've written 2 books. I've created a podcast. I've, and after all the work, who said, right? Who said these were the benchmarks to the success that you desire? And there's something for you, son, God speaking, that I have that you are not yet aware of. And if I told you what you're going to have to go through to get it, you won't do it. So who said, right? You're operating from a metric that I created that I haven't even told you. So who said? You see what I mean? And so keep going. Keep pedaling. Don't look back. You're doing fine. Keep pedaling. Don't look back. Because that's all you have. And if you're familiar with the story of Acres of Diamonds, you might be one swing away from the pickaxe to reaching diamonds, but you'll never know if you don't quit, if you don't keep picking away, right? Everything that you need is already within you. And I'll give a synopsis of the story for those listening that aren't familiar with Acres of Diamonds, but there was a farmer who wasn't getting a harvest on his land, and he sold his land to go buy mining equipment to mine for diamonds. The man that he sold it to were finding funny rocks on his land that he didn't know what they were. He went to go have them examined and found out it was one of the biggest diamond mines in the world. So the man who previously owned it sold a diamond mine to go mine for diamonds, right? And we do that so often in our life. We're selling a diamond mine instead of mining inward and understanding the diamonds that are already within you and manifesting from what's in you, that greatness is already within you. Everything that you need, you were given from day one. Now it's up to you to hone those skills, to discover how that manifests and what it can manifest within you. So those would be my final thoughts for everybody. But y'all, this has been a phenomenal time. It's always a great time when Stevie Lou is in the building, right?
Yes.
So, man, Noop, I want to really thank you. I know things have been busy, but thank you for the honor of your time, right? Because we know that's one of two things in this life, our time and our good name, that we cannot get back. So thank you for the time that you have blessed us with. We promise to do well with it.
Yes.
You know, and we look forward to having you back again. You have an open invite, and in case you don't call us, just know we're going to call you. You know, and maybe next time we'll take some audience questions. So after people watch this episode and our audience or people in the member section want to field questions to you, you know, maybe we can field those questions and answer them on the show if you're down with that.
No, for sure. Appreciate y'all for having me on. You know, I'm just like hanging out like old times, man. So I'm all for it. Really like what y'all doing with the podcast. I mean, I see the level up, and you know, I'm rooting for y'all success all day, every day.
There it is. So y'all, we thank y'all.
Well, before we sign off, I just want to give him an opportunity. No. I want to give you the opportunity. If you have any projects coming up, I know you have products, anything, you know, where can the people find you? All of that.
Oh, my
For
bad.
sure. I use my government name, so it's easy to find, and I got a black mom, so it's spelled different. If you Google Stevon Lewis, all my stuff will come up. My website is stevonlewis.com. I'll make it real easy. Products, have a journal I wrote called Silencing Your Inner Bully. It's in the journal for Imposter Syndrome. It's really a collection of activities and you know, I guess kind of prompts and journal prompts or whatever to help people kind of work through their imposterism. It's similar to the stuff I would do with a client if I was working one-on-one. Have a podcast. I don't know if it's coming back for another season, but I think we got 3 out the way. It's called How to Talk to High Achievers About Anything. You can find it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. And I'm always out speaking, doing podcasts, doing stuff. So, you know, I'm on Instagram at Stevon Lewis MFT, the letters Mary Francis Thomas. And, you know, be careful what you find on that one.
Hey, it's look, the metaverse is something else. But y'all make sure that y'all check out Brother Stevon Lewis, psychotherapist, imposter syndrome expert. Make sure that you grab the book Silencing Your Inner Bully. Right. So he does phenomenal work. Y'all have heard him here. You're going to hear him elsewhere, and you were going to hear him back here in the future. So with that, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all, and we will see y'all next week. But until then, always remember,
be free to be you.
We'll see y'all.
Bye.
This has been the Crossroads Podcast. And remember, be free to be you.